We have to begin this morning with a reaction to the death of O.J. Simpson, who divided Americans along racial lines when he was charged, then acquitted, of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman. Simpson had a long and complicated legacy, and there's no one better to have here this morning than 60 Minutes correspondent Bill Whitaker. He covered the trial for CBS News nearly 30 years ago. Bill, they didn't call it the trial of the century for nothing. This was 1995. You had a front row seat.
I did indeed. Simpson's trial was must-see TV, with enduring characters and images that still resonate to this day. Chief among them was Simpson himself, a former football star used to outrunning the competition. In the summer of 1994, he found out he could only run so far.
This is one of the most indelible scenes of the 20th century. O.J. Simpson in a white Ford Bronco. It was June of 1994, and Simpson was on the run. Days after police came across a gruesome murder scene at the home of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson. She had been brutally stabbed along with her friend, Ronald Goldman. Simpson later surrendered and declared his innocence, spawning a legal showdown that became known as the trial of the century. The prosecution was led by Marcia Clark, but the star of the courtroom drama was Simpson's lead defense attorney, Johnny Cochran. The case was filled with intrigue,
Detective Furman,
including allegations of a racist cop and a leather glove which prosecutors said he used in the killings. In an unforgettable moment, Simpson was asked to try it on in the courtroom.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
And acquit they did. When the verdict was finally read,
we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty.
There was a stark juxtaposition of emotion, some disgusted at a perceived miscarriage of justice, others thrilled that a black man had been exonerated in a judicial system that was still reeling from the Rodney King decision and the resulting L.A. riot. Born in San Francisco in 1947,
the football genius of O.J. Simpson.
Simpson had previously best been known for his glittering Hall of Fame football career, winning a national championship and Heisman Trophy at USC and taking home an MVP award with the Buffalo Bills. That led to a film and advertising career, which took him to a near unprecedented level of stardom for an African American at the time.
You know it.
2 years after the 1995 acquittal, a civil jury ordered him to pay $33.5 million to the victims' families, though they received only a fraction of that. And in 2007, an armed robbery at a Las Vegas hotel with O.J. caught on camera stealing personal collectibles he claimed had been taken from him.
I didn't know I was doing anything illegal.
This time, he couldn't escape prison, spending roughly a decade behind bars before fading out of public view following his release. I spoke to Simpson in 1996 about his forever tarnished legacy.
A lot of the feelings that we're getting right now has nothing to do with Ron, Nicole, or me. It has to do with things that are going on in people's own lives.
An attorney for the Goldman family told CBS News yesterday that Simpson had a death without penance. He also said Fred Goldman, Ronald Goldman's father, is discussing whether the family wants to resume legal action to get more settlement money from Simpson's estate.
They say they got very little.
Very little.
Yeah, because I think the award was $33 million. I think they got a little over $100,000. But this case, Bill, I mean, even hearing it yesterday, it brought back so many memories for so many different people, because it had everything: sex, race, Hollywood, sports, violence. How do you process this all these years later? How are we to sit with this as we look at this case again today?
It sort of defined us at that time, and I say it sort of set things in motion for today. Like you said, there was celebrity, there was sexual abuse, there was money, power, Hollywood, everything combined. And it was almost like a soap opera. As a matter of fact, soap operas lost viewership when the trial was on. So many people were watching the trial that this, so I think some soap operas never came back after that.
And the divide still exists. When you look online, after his death, you can still see the fracture in this country because people sit on one side or the other when it comes to O.J. Like, he lived in this place of duality that we really didn't see until everything came to light.
Is this the end of it, or are we going to be reconsidering what this case means for years to come?
I think it's the end of it as far as O.J. is concerned, but the issues we're talking about now, I mean, the whole dialogue we're having in the country about race. You can tap right into the O.J. Simpson trial. About sexual abuse. You can tap right into the O.J. Simpson trial. So
the justice system. Tap right into the O.J. Simpson
justice
trial.
system.
The racial divide, though, was so troubling at that time to see blacks, and you would see it on split screens because not all black people were cheering. I think that's important to say, but to see a large community of black people cheering and the white community looking horrified. Because two people were slaughtered. Whatever you think about this case, two people were slaughtered, and no one has been held accountable for their deaths, even as we sit here today.
Well, there was a civil trial, and O.J. was found to be responsible for the deaths. So, he was found to not be guilty by a jury of his peers in the criminal trial, but in the civil trial, he was found to be responsible for the deaths. So, take that for what it is.
He got to die at 76 instead of 25 and 30-something. Those two victims. Bill, thank you very much.
Bill, nice to have you in the studio.
Really
Sorry for this story, but really nice to have you at the table.
Good to be here with you guys.
All right, we're going to turn now to the deadly and dangerous weather in the east from a system that's already been wreaking havoc nationwide. Flash flooding, submerged cars near Charleston, West Virginia, and police have warned of life-threatening conditions there, while just outside Pittsburgh, crews had to rescue multiple people. This very same system washed out roads in Tallahassee, Florida, with up to 10 inches of rain, and there was a confirmed tornado just outside of St. Augustine. Meteorologist Jim Cantore with our partners at the Weather Channel is watching all of this. Jim, good morning to you.
Yeah, Tony, 18 tornadoes and counting so far, and then we reset it into next week. But we got to get rid of this system first, which is going to be rainy, raw, and windy today, especially into New England here. Cold and wet again on the backside if we haven't had enough flooding already in places like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Oh, and there is some cold air aloft, which will bring some snow eventually on Saturday across northern New England. Our attention in the south shifts to the Masters, but another windy day for the players here. Look at this all the way through the afternoon. This time a little bit more of a westerly wind. And, of course, if you go into Amen Corner, the middle hole there, 12, you think, oh, it's only a par 3. It's 155 yards. But you've got a very, very small green. You've got winds sometimes gusting over 30 miles per hour. This will make this hole very, very difficult today. Fourth hardest hole on the Masters Tour, according to all the ramifications here. As we get into Saturday and Sunday, the wind dies down, and we are left with a couple of beautiful days for play. For more in-depth coverage, you can watch the Weather Channel on cable or live on your favorite TV streaming devices. Nate, have a great weekend. Back to you.
You have a great weekend, too, Jim. Thank you. The U.S. is urging Americans in Israel to restrict their movements as fears grow of a possible attack by Iran. Iranian leaders are threatening retaliation for a deadly airstrike on Iran's embassy in Syria this month, which Tehran blames on Israel. Deborah Patta has more on the concerns about a wider war.
Israel is braced for the worst-case scenario, the possibility of a direct attack on Israeli soil from Iran in retaliation for the bombing of its embassy in Damascus. Whoever harms us, we will harm them. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said at a military airbase, we are prepared, both defensively and offensively. Former Mossad official and Iran security expert Sima Shine says this is a dangerous moment for the region.
Is this the most worried you've been?
Yeah, I think this is the most worried. I think it's on both sides, in Israel and in Iran.
She says if Iran strikes Israel, it could involve missiles and drones similar to the Iranian attack on a Saudi oil facility in 2019.
They will try to do it on a military or some military asset. The question will be the damage, how many injured people killed, and I think it has the potential for a huge escalation.
However, she stresses that she still believes neither side wants a regional conflict and that will be weighing heavily on Iran's mind.
Shine told us that Iran's major dilemma is how to respond in such a way that the conflict does not escalate further. And likewise, Israel, she says, may choose to show restraint and avoid a direct conflict. Tony?
Deborah, thank you very much. Back here in this country, Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson is facing the biggest challenge to his leadership since he took the job. So the question is, what's he doing today? Well, he's heading to Mar-a-Lago to meet with former President Donald Trump. Chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa joins us now from Washington. Bob, good morning to you. What's the significance of this meeting between Speaker Johnson and Donald Trump?
Good morning. The significance first is that Speaker Mike Johnson is appearing alongside former President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago to talk about election integrity issues, but he's appearing alongside Trump, who continues to falsely claim the 2020 election was stolen. And this comes at a precarious moment for Speaker Johnson. He's facing a lot of criticism from conservatives in the House, and he hopes to solidify his standing with them, his allies tell me, by being there with Trump at Trump's home.
Bob, on Monday, the first criminal trial of a former president begins with Donald Trump here in New York. What will you be watching for as that plays out?
It's going to be mostly about jury selection next week as this criminal trial begins in New York. It's also a revival of a cast of characters we haven't heard from in a long time. You'll be hearing more about Michael Cohen, the longtime fixer for former President Trump, and this is about the hush money payments Cohen made to Stormy Daniels, the adult film star, back in 2016. This is going to be about whether Trump violated election law, whether he committed a felony, and Trump's going to be forced to sit in court since it's a criminal trial. That will complicate his campaign schedule.
Sure will. Robert Costa for us. Bob, thank you very much.
Baseball superstar Shohei Ohtani's longtime interpreter and friend plans to turn himself in today to face criminal charges that now include bank fraud. Federal prosecutors allege that Ippei Mizuhara stole from Ohtani to pay huge gambling debts, and the L.A. Dodger knew nothing at all about it. As Adam Yamaguchi reports, the numbers are staggering.
Mr. Mizuhara stole over $16 million from Mr. Ohtani's account in order to pay for these illegal sports bets.
Prosecutors say Ippei Mizuhara was bleeding cash, placing approximately 19,000 bets with an alleged illegal bookmaking operation from December 2021 through January of this year, and losing more than $40 million in the process.
At the same time he started placing the bets with bookmakers, Mr. Mizuhara began using Mr. Ohtani's account to make payments.
Prosecutors claim the interpreter helped Ohtani create a bank account to house his MLB salary after he came to the U.S. in 2018, then repeatedly accessed it online, falsely identified himself as Ohtani over the phone several times to authorize wire transfers, and told Ohtani's agent and financial advisors the ballplayer did not want anyone else to monitor the account. IRS Special Agent in Charge Tyler Hatcher told us Ohtani is a victim.
What sort of window did Ohtani have into his own finances?
I don't know the answer to that question, but the investigation and the complaint shows that Mr. Mizuhara exploited his relationship as his trusted friend and translator.
Ohtani signed a 10-year, $700 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers in December, and Mizuhara was along for the ride until the team fired him last month over the theft allegations.
I'm very saddened and shocked that someone who I'm trusted has done this.
Through another translator, Ohtani said he wasn't aware Mizuhara had been siphoning money from his account. And according to the federal affidavit, amid swirling news reports about the gambling scandal, Mizuhara messaged the bookie, "Technically, I did steal from him. It's all over for me." For CBS Mornings, Adam Yamaguchi, Los Angeles.
Well, we reached out to a representative from Mizuhara that had no comment. This has got to be a betrayal he never saw coming because he trusted him. His English wasn't that great.
Right.
You rely on somebody who you think is a friend, and they do that to you.
New to this country.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah,
that's right.
Big lesson.
A new 48 Hours investigation looks into the disappearance of a young Minnesota woman. Maddie Kingsbury, a 26-year-old mother of two, disappeared in March of 2023. Her distraught sister Megan turned to TikTok to tell the world about Maddie and asked for help. Peter Van Zandt shows us what might have happened to Maddie.
After not hearing from her sister Maddie on March 31st, 2023, Megan Kingsbury first reached out to Adam Fravel, who lived with Maddie and is the father of their two children.
He said, I'm concerned too because I haven't heard from her, and so I'm at my parents', with the kids.
Megan then took to social media.
Hey TikTok, I'm posting an update. We still haven't found my sister.
Eventually, an estimated 2,000 volunteers joined the search.
My sister is still missing. Police and other law enforcement are obviously still searching. Everyone's frustrated, and we just can't figure out where she is.
The search went on for more than 2 months, until June 7th, 2023.
This area here, in this culvert, is where Maddie's body was found.
Police arrested Adam Fravel and charged him with first-degree murder. Police say Maddie was found wrapped in a gray bedsheet that seemed to match a set found at their home. In a strange twist, Megan had told police about a comment Adam made 18 months before Maddie's disappearance.
He essentially had told her, if you don't start listening up, you'll end up like Gabby Petito.
Gabby Petito, the young woman whose case fixated the nation in the fall of 2021. According to the criminal complaint, Adam admitted he made those Gabby Petito comments but claimed he was trying to make a joke. He denied any physical abuse. During the search, he put out a statement that read, in part, "I have cooperated with law enforcement at every turn. I did not have anything to do with Maddie's disappearance."